Alright, so now that the RX-7 is out of the garage, I have to take a short break from it, because in the meantime, I need to work on this. This is a VG30DE engine from a 300ZX NA model. It's not the one everyone likes, the twin turbo model, but I mean, I don't think actually anyone likes it. But anyway, so this is from that 300ZX that you probably saw in a previous video that I was saying I was going to work on for the next week or so. Ended up being a lot more work than I expected it to be, because after changing fuel injectors, it still wasn't running right. I come to find out that it had flooded so much with fuel that the oil pan was like half fuel and half oil. So it was leaking oil profusely from the rear main and from several other places. I think the fuel might have destroyed a few of the oil seals and caused that. Either that or just overfilled. In any case, the engine just desperately needed to be pulled from the car and completely resealed. So I'm not doing a full rebuild. The rings and cylinders and everything are all perfectly fine. That rotating assembly rotates perfectly. There's no, well, there is some play in the bearings, but it's like designed, whatever. But yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start reassembling this engine. I got a whole kit of stuff to put inside of it, new mounts, all kinds of new stuff. I got an entire new air hose or vacuum hose kit for it. So when I'm done with this thing, it should run perfectly again. It's not gonna have any leaks, air or oil, fuel, anything like that. And I'm really hoping that'll be the end of it, because I'm ready to get this thing out of my driveway. So let me go ahead and get started on that. And because this engine had such a bad oil leak issue, I decided I'd go ahead and just get one of these things to clean it up all the way. I've been wanting one for a long time. They're super useful whenever you work on engines and stuff. And believe it or not, I do more than just paint cars. So I figured I'd go ahead and get one because I'll use it for this project, and it'll only help in the long run for other projects I got going on. Yeah, there it is. Not bad, honestly. It's I mean, it's Harbor Freight quality, but it's just a parts washer. All I've really got to do is pump some parts wash and some degreaser stuff through it, and I'll be washing parts off. So I'm happy with it. Let me get it set up, and we'll move on to the actual video. Alright, well, I think that's about as good as this piece is going to get. This grease is caked on way harder than I even expected it to be. So I think this is honestly good enough, to be fair. This used to be like pitch black, and now it's, you know, mostly metal looking. So the rest is all on so hard I can't even really get it off. Like, I've been scrubbing it just non-stop and it just won't come off. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of the parts done, get them all to about this condition or better, and then I'll get on to the actual rebuild. Alright, so after entirely too much time, but still a lot less time than I would have spent doing it, any other way, I've completely finished degreasing all the parts that are going back on this car. There they all are. And now I'm going to go ahead and stick you guys on a time lapse and start putting this thing together. Alright, so I got the oil pan on, and the front and rear main seal, oil pump, all that stuff is installed. So the bottom end is more or less good to go. I just got to attach some accessory stuff. I've got to attach the oil filter bracket. But in the meantime, I'm thinking if I'm going to do this, whole resale, I want to make this look good. Kind of a personal thing. So what I'm going to do next is waste a little bit of my time and clean it up real good, degrease as much as I can. It's going to be a pain, but I'm going to try to get in all these little gaps here, because you can see on this side it's not crazy bad, but there is a little bit of rust and stuff. Over here on this side it's a lot worse, a lot more like deep rust, but I just want to kind of make it look pretty. Completely pointless for this build because it's, it's not really like a project build or anything like that. It's just, it's the guy's baby. I figure I may as well make it look good for him. It won't take that much time, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick, and then we'll move on with this. Alright, I got it cleaned up about as much as I possibly can without taking out the sandblaster, which I don't have any media for right now anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, it's gonna have to be good enough. It's not perfect, not exactly my proudest work, but I gotta reiterate, this isn't meant to be perfect. I'm just trying to clean it up a bit. It might not last forever, it might not even last a week. Not a big deal, just an engine block. Just making it kind of pretty. Oh, side note, frog tape. Good stuff. By the way, I'll be painting this with a can of black engine enamel that I've had sitting in my paint blocker thing for like 4 or 5 years now, so not exactly even wasting any money. Yeah, I'm glad I did that. That looks 10 times better than it did before. And again, yeah, it may not last very long, but in the meantime, it's just nice to look at. Makes me a little bit more motivated to work on it. Anyway, let's move on. Just went outside, grabbed some oil to lubricate my O-ring with. I just realized it's 9 o'clock. I've been doing this since noon. It's gotten slow. I just realized I messed up. There's a bracket that has to go on before that goes on. Alright, so you remember how I said it was 9 o'clock and I've been doing this all day? Well, one thing I neglected to do when taking the engine to the machine shop was to take out all the valves, and I kind of wish I just did that back then now, because one of the gaskets that came with the kit is the valve stem seals, which I kind of forgot about, but I'm not about to skip out on them, so I'm going to call this a day. I'm going to do those tomorrow. So, catch back up then. I just want to take a moment to say that I'm a complete idiot. I forgot that you can just put the valve retainers into the valve spring cap when you put it on, and they'll kind of just put themselves in place more or less. You guys have been watching me struggle this whole time, and yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. Jeez. Anyway. Alright, well, 1/4 of the way done. The rest all looks exactly the same. So I'm going to save myself some embarrassment and go ahead and just skip all this and catch back with you guys when I'm finished. Alright, just finished installing the last valve on the second head. Only took me like 4 or 5 hours like I was expecting. Still, yeah, I don't think I was completely right when I said that you know, I was struggling for no reason, because you could just put them in the little retainer cap and they'd work themselves in. Now they're just hard no matter what, and it's just kind of hit or miss. So I'm happy to be done with this, to say the least. Yeah. Go ahead and get them on the car. So in case anyone was wondering, when I loosened all of them, that wasn't because I made any kind of mistake. That's actually part of the torque procedure. You torque them down to 29 foot-pounds, then 90 foot-pounds, and then you loosen them all and just do it again. Kind of weird, but hey, that's what the torque specs calls for, so that's what we did. Anyway, next head. I just realized I don't have a water pump for this thing. I thought it would be part of the timing belt kit, but this engine doesn't drive off of the timing belt like most engines are used to. So I guess that'll be the last thing I install. Guess I'll just finish everything else in the meantime. It's finished, and you totally didn't miss anything. Yeah, no. I got really tired of the GoPro constantly dying on me, and there's a lot of really tedious stuff to just plug up. There's probably 2 miles of vacuum hose in this freaking engine, and yeah, it was just a really monotonous process kind of putting it all back together. I'm still not even really done with it. There's still so many vacuum lines I just need to double check to make sure I need to put in the right place. Not to mention I gotta replace all this really small stuff, so I gotta pick up more line for that. And obviously I've had a haircut since then, so you can tell it's been a little longer than a couple days. But yeah, so this engine's pretty much ready to go now. Like I said, it's just vacuum hose stuff at this point. Everything else is all put on, all the gaskets tightened and everything. Got the tube, the alternator, and the power steering pump on. Just gotta, put it in the engine, or put it in the engine bay to get this on. And I would go ahead and do that right now, except the guy who I'm working on it for came over and took a look at it, and we decided that he wanted to go with a manual swap on his car. So I'm doing that now, and I have pretty much all the parts for it, still waiting on a couple more. So pretty much going to put this build on pause for now, but I'm happy the engine is out of the way. This was a massive undertaking, honestly. Like, I've messed with plenty of different engines in my time, and this is by far the most ridiculously hard to cope with, I guess. There's so much going on with this engine. It seems simple until you start really getting into it, and there's just so much stuff. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here to go ahead and get this video out, and we'll mess with the rest of it on the next one. And hopefully the next one will be me actually getting all the manual swap parts together, putting it in the car, and hopefully taking that car for the first drive that I've been able to take it more than a few hundred yards. But anyway, if you enjoyed, subscribe. Otherwise, hit the like button if you liked it, and I will see you next time. Bye.